the giant elephant looming over pretty much all of America right now, where are the adults? Where are they? And, you know, unfortunately, we don't have adults in the room because Democrats don't have a lot of power right now. But elections are the way that we can keep power and win our power back. So, here's what I have to say. Or here's my question for you guys. How important is it for us to show up to every election, but especially these ones coming up in Virginia and New Jersey?
I mean, how important? On what scale? What's my scale of?
Well, I was gonna say, what's at stake? Just remind us what's at stake and why we have to go. Or you can say we don't have to vote.
No, you have to vote. You have to vote. You definitely have to vote. There is way too much at stake. We are looking at an absolute lunatic who is trying to become governor of New Jersey. We are looking at a crazy woman who is the current lieutenant governor of Virginia, who is now trying to become the governor of Virginia. Although, oh no, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, no, now you have to.
What kind of name is Winsome Earl Seal? Like, I don't understand what the name bothers me. You can't have Governor Winsome. That just doesn't sound good.
Winsome Lusome.
Huh?
Oh, Winsome Lusome.
Cancer.
Wow.
There was a news article that said Winsome Lusome.
Oh,
That's pretty good.
That's good. That's good. I like that. And we're also talking about depending on. Thanks, Jolly.
Finally.
Stop. You're supposed to be my emotional support white voice. And also just depending on where you are, where you're located, because I know we were talking about New Jersey and Virginia, but all across the country, we are seeing, for example, the special election that is happening in Texas District 18. We see that we don't know exactly who's going to be the front runner of that just yet, but I do know that Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett has just made her official endorsement for Christian Menifee, so that's exciting. And we're also seeing ballot initiatives that may pop up all across the country, which we know has been very important for things like abortion rights. So I don't know. There's like a laundry list. There was no specific ask there, so I just started ranting with stuff.
Hey, we like it.
I'm gonna pass it over.
Well, voting is very important. We're realizing that now because of the previous election. Very important. Turns out who leads us can make a big difference. I would say, though, there's two reasons why New Jersey and Virginia are important. We're also learning through Gavin Newsom, Josh Shapiro, and other Democratic governors that the executives have a lot of power. They have a lot of power. And so it is critical for two reasons. One, Virginians and New Jerseyans.
Yeah, I think that's right.
New Jerseyans.
Yes.
It is just so important that we have rational people in office who are going to want to protect their constitutional rights to protest, to protect their neighbors, to protect undocumented immigrants who are being attacked by ICE. That's one. Two, I just think from a pure vibes perspective, I think if we don't win those, I'm really afraid that it's just going to feel like we can't win anything, because we should win those. And so I think it's also very critical that we turn out, we show out in a way that we should have in November, but let's at least correct it this time, because we have to make sure that we're showing that we're also ready to do something differently this year.
Yeah, you can clap for that, yeah. I will say, you brought up something that I didn't think about too. It's like, you know, Trump and his unchecked power, because again, no adults in the room in Congress. But you're right, like Trump is attacking cities. Trump is attacking our elections of states and things like that. So if we have a stopgap, someone who could be that person to be like, no, then it is very, very important. So yeah, the stakes are pretty high. I'll answer your question. On a scale of 1 to 10, I think we're at like a 10. It's pretty important. I think so too. All right, here we go. Here's the question number 2. Let's start with some top line issues for voters. Now this, of course, is for New Jerseyans, there we go, I said it right, and Virginia, but across the board, the number one issue in America right now is, do you want to guess?
I don't know.
For voters, do you know?
The economy.
The economy, the cost of living, because it has skyrocketed over the last year. I mean, several years, but definitely this past year. Now, both candidates for Virginia governor have a plan to address the cost of living on their website, but they look a little different. Here is Abigail Spanberger's website if it wants to play. All right, it looks nice, and she's, well, if it wants to play. There we go. She's got all these different things. She's got housing, she's got healthcare, she's got energy. It went super fast because it's a very long list of websites here, right? Let's take a look at Winsome. Loosome. That's it. That's all she has on her website to reduce the cost of living. The first part is her bio, and then she gets into Doge-style like government spending, and somehow that is going to be able to make you afford a house. I don't think so.
Why is she invoking Dr. King? And
I had the same question.
like, it has nothing to. Okay.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The first part is her family arriving from Jamaica. You know, great, an immigrant family. That I guess she doesn't care about the immigrants anymore. But yeah, and then Dr. King, and then all the way down at the end, she's like, and we're going to reduce government spending, and that'll solve our economic problems, which I think we know with Doge did not happen. But what are some ways that that they can actually address this? I mean, it's on their website. We got housing, we got energy and stuff. But you know, in your opinion, for not only New Jerseyans and Virginians, but what are the ways that we can actually reduce the cost of living for people?
Well, I think hopefully one day we stop getting taxed by our own government with these tariffs. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be nice? That's one way. I think a second way is we have to elect Democrats, and we have seen through Doge that they might say they're trying to cut costs, but they actually increase spending. I think it was like trillions of dollars this past bill. So they say one thing, they want to do another. And in terms of like reducing cost, there really isn't much for us to do. But the most important thing for us to do is to vote and to realize that, I mean, what you showed here is actually quite incredible, that there's a Democrat who is very serious about these issues, and then someone who basically has a paragraph dedicated to reducing costs. I think that really speaks more to anything else.
Buzzwords, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, for corporations that are incorporated in their states, they could absolutely raise property taxes, business taxes, that sort of thing, and use that money to reinvigorate the economy and provide things like subsidized childcare. That would make a huge difference. You know, the average cost of daycare for one child in this area is about $2,200 to $2,500 a month. That's a ridiculous amount of money. I saw some people clench their legs together just now. They're like, is my IUD still in there?
That's the reason I don't have kids. I don't feel like I can afford it.
They are so
it's
expensive.
a real thing, yeah.
And they could also make sure to put tighter regulations when you talk about things like energy on a lot of these energy companies. We know that there are issues with a lot of the grids. In Virginia and specifically, there's issues with the Dominion grid. It is not able to withstand, and I think you're going to get into this in a bit, the data center strain.
We're going to talk about
So
those
I'm not going to get into
sneaky
that
little
yet.
data centers.
Yeah, and I've seen the data centers firsthand recently. So things like that with those tighter state regulations, there's a lot that state government can do, and we've seen it because my governor, Wes Moore, yes, Maryland, has done a lot of amazing things. And for example, we know that Maryland has been hit the hardest when it comes to unemployment from the federal workforce being cut. So he has created things like a pipeline to get Fed workers teaching licenses at no cost and quicker so they can get into a new career that addresses the teacher shortage in Maryland and gives them jobs with health care and salaries and pensions, right? So there are all kinds of very creative things that state governments and state leaders can do. It's just about whether they actually take the time to do it. And a lot of it has to come with making sure to not give a bunch of cuts to these big businesses and corporations that can honestly afford to pay a little more so that the rest of the citizens are able to live.
No, I totally agree, and we can clap for that. Yeah. You did say something though that I'm not trying to push back, but every time people hear raise taxes, you're going to raise my property tax, you're going to raise my income tax, or whatever it is, because truly that is the only solution to get the things that we really need. Is lo and behold, we have to pay for things. Oh, that makes people clench up a little bit, you know? So how do we, and this is, you know, Democrats, a strategist here, how do we message that to people and be like, hey guys, raising your taxes doesn't have to be a bad thing. How do we get that across to people?
I mean, really just showing the return on investment. I know that I pay hella taxes in Maryland.
And I live in California. I pay hella taxes too.
I pay hella taxes. I also know that my child he has gotten free preschool through the public school for 2 years, from the ages of 3 to 5 until he started kindergarten, because he has a disability, and they ensure that for every child, if they have a disability, a developmental delay, a speech impediment, what have you, in Montgomery County, Maryland, and in other counties in Maryland, because of the property taxes we pay, our children are entitled to those free services regardless of how much money we make. I can calculate the cost that they've raised my taxes, and that's when we have to really start talking like concrete with people, and it doesn't come close to the monthly $2,500 of childcare, especially if you talk about specialized childcare with OT and speech therapy and that sort of thing. And that's just one tiny example, but there's a ton of ways that the taxes have benefited. I know Maryland specifically, we do have some pretty high retirement taxes, I think like the highest in the country actually, which not everybody loves, but there's a lot of benefits that we have to living there, and that's why with the federal government doing what it's doing, attacking the Fed workforce, attacking our state, trying to attack Baltimore, why our governor is able to push back and actually protect us and provide resources. I think as of right now, he has the most extensive list of financial resources available immediately right now to furloughed federal workers of any state, including Virginia, which is really scary because there's a ton of Fed workers in Virginia, and your current governor's not doing shit. So
300,000. That's a lot. At a time when the president is threatening to not give back pay to these workers for a government shutdown that he created. Yeah, it's really scary times. And this is something where your local, your state, your local lawmakers can really, really, really make a big difference. I want to make sure you get a chance to answer as well.
How to just lower costs? Like how to tell people that taxes are great? Is that what you're saying?
Well, hold on. I feel like I agree with what you're saying, and I'm that policy wonk person that's like, let me show you the charts, but that does not read across the board, you know. So how would you go about telling people like, guys, you get what you pay for?
Well, I think the problem is people don't get what they pay for. I think one of the reasons why authoritarianism can look so attractive is because people feel like they aren't getting anything out of government, and so they're like, well, then fucking blow it all up. Why was Doge so attractive? Because people don't like the government, because the government truly, for most people, doesn't really work for their day-to-day lives in ways that they can see. And most people are paying a lot of money for most things now. They're kind of like at their breaking point. So I think we actually have to have better government. We have to have good government. And I wish, this is probably very like Pollyanna, but I hope that one day we can have a government that really does create laws for people, that actually helps people. I think we create a lot of laws now that help corporations. But we don't really create as many laws that protect people. I was shocked. I had to return a car because it didn't work. I was shocked. This is how little I think of our government. I was shocked that there are laws in place to protect me from that situation. Like I was able to get a lawyer, and they were able to talk about the law. I don't fucking know how that works, but they were able to figure it out. But there was a law. A lemon law. Yes, exactly. There was a lemon law, and because of that, but I don't feel like there's not enough of that. There's not a lot of protecting people, and we have to protect people. And if we protect people, then people are going to want to in turn protect or help the things protecting them.